Hey guys, Thomas Jr. here, aka Mustached, here to review the movie The Haunting of Sharon Tate. Now, before I begin my review, if anything is out of order or just terribly presented, I had notes on this movie. I, for some reason, deleted those notes. And yeah, it's gonna be a bad one, folks, so I do apologize in advance. Alright. So, this movie does begin with a more flashy back sort of sense, taking place, I believe, in the 1960s somethings, rather. With interviews of this lady, Sharon Tate, played by Hilary Duff, who last I've seen was like on the Disney stuff, but whatever. So, it's been a while. So, you know, they do the flashback stuff. It cuts to a more modern time after showing off that these people have died in this house. It's all like a lead-up shot of all these bodies and stuff. So it cuts to the more present day, and she essentially lives with these three other people. One's like her sort of, I guess, boyfriend slash potential future husband. The other is like her friend, and she has her significant other as well. And those two in particular, the latter two, are there to essentially take over her, or take care of her, I should say, because she's heavy on the pregnancy, and they want to make sure things are running smoothly. So, all the while, they're just chilling about, talking about stuff. If I had my notes, I probably specified what, but they eventually play this game where they ask this little board thing. It's not a Ouija board, but it's like something very akin to one of those. They ask it like two questions, one of them being Sharon asking if she'll live a long life, and it says no. And the two friends see this, but she actually becomes occupied before answering or seeing the answer, hearing the doorbell ring and seeing a note left behind by these people who are outside, pretty akin to stalking or just being there. And she mentions pretty soon that they shouldn't have been able to get in at all. And I find it bizarre that she didn't immediately call the police if that was the case. So that made no sense to me whatsoever, but whatever. So she, along the way, she gets visions of her death along the party of her crew. These individuals who are outside make their way inside. One of them claims to be the devil, and they proceed to choke out and stab and axe off and do other very nefarious things, only to her to wake up. All the while, somewhere along the way as well, she looks at the tapes, or the packages which contain tapes, one of which contains a message inside, and she's hearing it. There are other quote-unquote spooks, like when she's in the bathroom. Of course, you're gonna have your blood water and all that stuff that you see, in these in more cliched horror movies. And yeah, stuff of that nature. So, I'm not really sure why this movie is necessarily called The Haunting of Sharon Tate. Haunting implies that she is being possessed. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it is a good title, I don't know. It does seem a little bit misleading. The haunting, like she is being haunted, I suppose. I guess that's accurate. I don't know. Whatever. Um, I thought about it some. It is a little bit mixed. You could potentially get that confused with being possessed, unless it's literally called the possession. Unless it was literally called the possession of Sharon Tate, then there would have been even more issues. I feel the haunting, it could go either way, I suppose. So, anyway, so she goes to this other guy. I forget what his name is. I wrote it down in my notes, but I don't have it anymore. And he is able to decipher the tapes, or the tape, and it's one of those things where when you play it backwards, it plays a message of helpter skelter, something like that. I forget what the word is, or that phrase. And she saw the messages in blood and stuff of that nature, and the whole warning thing. The tape was like another bad dream, I think. And of course, this is all leading up to the actual invasion, and her prepping up and stepping up to the plate when things get really bad. When they do inevitably make their way inside, she steps up and says, "Why don't you kill me?" She tells like the friends, and they now believe her when they weren't believing her before. To like try to cover up as much of the house as possible. Of course, the house was far too big for them to actually get to every nook and cranny before they made their way in. She also told the lady, her friend, to hide, and she hid like above them. So she makes her stand, Miss Sharon here, and that leads to her successful escape with these others. There's a bit of a scuffle. The lady above makes her way down, tackling one of the other attackers, and they make their way outside. They join the other guy after taking down like 3 of the 4 that are attacking them. They almost take him down as well, but he's able to still come at them. So they sort of lure him into this trailer park where one of the guys, the nerd, the one that helped them decipher the message in that little thing, he had a shovel. He was able to avoid a gunshot point blank, or very close to that. And yeah, pretty much pummel him to death. So our 5 people are able to live in peace. Afterwards, the police arrive. They essentially do their work. There's news press. People are all gathering up now. So she starts to stay behind momentarily, checking one of the 2 bodies. She sees the 4 that were there. She sees 2 additional bodies as she's starting to narrate about these lines that she's been having throughout the movie about whether things are fate or destined, or if you can change fate. And she sees these last 2 bodies. One was her boyfriend, I think, and the other was her. So she was looking at her own body, like, as to assume that, like, she changed that outcome or whatever. So she eventually gets outside and then joins her friends, and then they make their way, and then that is The Haunting of Sharon Tate. It is a pretty generic movie. definitely has some of the more obvious cliches of like, oh, the blood of of the stuff when the people aren't looking, or you know, I guess some of the acting's okay-ish, particularly when they're being attacked. I think that's probably the most realistic this movie gets. But that is kind of the problem, is that of course all of these are just dreams and they're not based off of anything real, or I should rather say not 100% fated to be real, question mark. I don't know. uh Other than that, this movie was just pretty by the numbers. uh Nothing too spectacular. So I think I'd give it a 4 out of 10. There's some stuff here, but it's not anything fantastic either. And that's my review of The Haunting of Sharon Tate. And if you enjoyed it, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will lead you over to my Discord server, the other to my Patreon page. Any donations are greatly appreciated. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.